Hi, this is James, and for this video, I want to talk about like the future of band music, like alt pop, but specifically like more in a band format, and more specifically Sombr and Role Model, because those are two artists I feel like embody this new sort of wave that feels unavoidable and inescapable right now. If you like alt pop, if you like pop that's more band focused, maybe a little more rock influenced. So for this, I kind of want to talk about really my personal issues with it, and not in a way that's disparaging. I don't want it to seem disparaging to these artists because they're both young. I mean, Sombr is very young, but I think they both have a big career ahead of them. And what I mean by this is I feel like because they appeal to Gen Z and Gen Alpha, our standard, generally speaking, for this style of music is very low relative to our standards for who they are as a person, if that makes sense. So I think sonically, both these artists don't really fully invigorate me, take my interest, they're not fully captivating. I don't think this is like necessarily something that is a criticism of them, even though it sounds like it, because I believe that they're both like still finding themselves, and they're very influenced by the artists they are influenced by respectively, but like it feels as though they are missing something to help them stand out besides just the idea of them as a person. And I know that I'm not their target demographic. I know that, and I know that they're not trying to appeal to me, but it doesn't feel like they're being fully authentic. And I know that's just a personal thing, but with these artists, it generally speaking feels very much like they're playing it safe, and in a way where it feels like they're holding themselves back. And I feel that more with Role Model, because I want to clarify, Sombr doesn't have like a big body of work out, but he is extraordinarily popular, and like he's worked with some like bigger names. Like his debut EP was produced by Tony Berg, and he got to work with like a big producer. If you don't know Tony Berg, like he was one of the producers on The Record by Boy Genius. Like he's worked with some really big names. He got to work with Tony Berg after just one single that was successful. Like to get this many labels' attention in the modern age, I know it's just like how things work. The moment you go viral, the moment you have an online hit, labels will reach out and give you just tons of money to record because they really want to be the people that like discovered you. That being said, Sombr just needs more time. He is too young to be doing the type of music he's doing in the way that he is wanting to do it, if that makes sense. That is my understanding of his music, because he's not doing something very subversive or pushing the boundaries in a way where being young kind of benefits you because you aren't as used to certain traditions in recording or just in songwriting in general. Whereas for him, it feels like he's trying to lean into these traditions. So his lack of experience, not that I think he's like necessarily that bad, as much as just it doesn't feel like him. I think his biggest skill right now is marketing. I think he's doing this sort of like meta ironic, unserious promotion, which kind of annoys me because it's like, this is your work, you should be proud of it. Like I remember people were talking about, oh, we're done with the whole nonchalant stuff, but he's not showing that he's like super caring about the art. He's just talking about like whatever recent like internet like memes or whatever brain rot like he can recite in a way that's like kind of ironic. He knows it's like a little old to be doing that, but he's only 19. It's like clear he's actively keeping up with this, and I'd rather him like try to be on the forefront of rot than like try to do this meta ironic thing as marketing. And with like Role Model, everything's more just about who he is as a person, who he used to date, who he will date in the future, who this lyric is about. It's like, who cares? This dude worked with Mac Miller. Like that should be a bigger piece of his history that's interesting to people than who he used to date. Like I don't get how I'm supposed to take him seriously as an artist. And this is my issue with his marketing. How I'm supposed to take him seriously as an artist if all that's talked about him is who he is as a person, what his personality is. It's like, I don't care. I know his fans will. Like, I know that should be for the fans. That should be in the deep cut interviews. It shouldn't be all I see from him and like the occasional like Jimmy Fallon performance for both these guys. I don't know. My personal recommendation is for like people who are really into like Sombre, get into the scene. And this is like, I think this would benefit Sombre. If he got into like the scene or something way more like hardcore relative to what he does now, that would benefit him so much. I would love to see him go harsher and still maintain this popular demographic. Do something that like Sleep Token is failing to do. Sleep Token is very successful, but they're criticized for making like, I think it's like metal for Disney adults is like the term that's used. But he could do something that's just a little bit heavier than normal pop, like heavier than what he's doing now, harsher, more distorted, but still do it with like pop tendencies in a way that's way less corny and way more earnest than something like Sleep Token. With Role Model, work with Jack Antonoff. I think Role Model is better as a pop artist. Stop doing the voice effects. Stop trying to be someone who he's not. Like, he seems like someone who is the human embodiment of Erewhon. Like, the whole Saint Laurent cowboy thing is so corny to me, but that's perfect for a certain audience. There's an audience of people that loves that. So I feel like if he worked with like some of the biggest pop producers, that would benefit him so much more than kind of doing what he does now, which is this weird in between. Like, do something that's like what his heroes are doing. It's so clear how inspired he is by the 1975, and I am too. I love that band. They're probably my favorite band. But he's emulating aspects of them that are not the things you should take from them. What you should take is like the weird forays into intellectualism or like philosophy in the lyrics. That's interesting. That holds an audience. Not the random like lyrical personal shout, which is like cool, but it's like not why people hold on to being a fan. It feels as though a lot of the discourse around him isn't about the music for a reason, because music isn't fully captivating yet. And I feel like that's just my whole problem with the scene and band music in general right now, is it all feels very safe. Everything feels very manufactured. The aesthetics are safe. Everything. Even the marketing strategies, it's very manufactured, and everything's about post-irony, not being vulnerable, but the lyrics are vulnerable in a way to where you can't really criticize them. And I don't like this direction it's headed. I think sonically it's not in a bad place. Like, I think sonically their sounds are fine. I still think that they need to be pushed harder in doing something different. I think that more with Sombre than with Role Model, because I think Sombre has more of like a voice for like potentially like almost like metalcore stuff that actually could be kind of interesting. I don't think he should make metalcore, but just like harsher things. I don't know. In my mind, the main issue with band music is just the lack of pushing themselves. And when you think back to like movements in the 2000s that were like the post-hardcore of the late 90s, early 2000s, it was way more pushing the technical side of it while still being accessible. It wasn't like math rock or certain prog forays where it's like the focus is entirely on the technical, but it still had feel. It still had feel and that technical side. And that's what kind of makes that genre so interesting, that era of music. And that's why now I just feel like spend the money on the big producer, spend time in the studio. And that's why it's like Sombre just needs time. I don't want someone with this much potential and this much popularity in their career to rush out some like forgettable alt pop garbage that does nothing, has like one TikTok hit on it, and then like it just leads to nothing, and this genre kind of dies out. Because I have a lot of faith in this genre. I think it used to be way bigger, right? Like when you look back to like the Smiths were like an alt pop band. You can argue like even The Cure, but you can argue like the Talking Heads were an alt pop band. A lot of great bands in the past have been this genre that's slightly subversive pop music with a band, and now it just feels like it's the antithesis of what that was. It used to be that was like pushing things to a new direction. Now it just feels like it's reclaiming a past aesthetic for a new audience that isn't as familiar with it, so they're able to be blinded by just the marketing and the aesthetic of the artist more than anything else. And I feel like this video feels very critical. I don't want it to seem critical because I have a lot of faith in these artists, if that makes sense. I think with their potential, they could make this genre like back fully in the mainstream. They pull insane monthly listeners on Spotify. They do insane numbers on social media. They get radio play. They're starting to do the late night circuit. It's just about maintaining it, because right now it doesn't feel sustainable to me. It doesn't feel like something that people are going to remember in 5 years and be like, oh, that was a great song, I'm going to listen to it again. It feels very just like fleeting. Thanks for watching, and I have music too. Check it out. I have an EP that dropped a little while ago, not that long. And yeah, subscribe.